Konnichiwa, minasan. I'm Lori Sagawa, and I'm so happy and thankful that you have decided to join us today on the Samurai Way podcast. We have a special guest today that I know you'll want to listen to and maybe even take some copious notes. Her name is Céline Santini, and she's an internationally acclaimed speaker and award-winning author specializing in emotional resilience and transformation. After a career in marketing, communication, and entrepreneurship, she discovered the Japanese art of Kintsugi in 2017, a life-changing philosophy that inspired her internationally recognized book, Kintsugi, Finding Strength in Imperfection. It's now translated into 12 languages. She's spoken around the world, including TEDx and major organizations such as Netflix, IKEA, Red Cross, and Brother. And through her Kintsugi-inspired framework, she helps individuals, teams transform challenges to strength. And her message is simple, yet powerful. Our cracks are not weaknesses. They are the gold that reveals our resilience and greatest potential. So please, at this time, help me welcome to the podcast, Céline, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Lori. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm honored. As you can hear, I come from France, and so excuse me for my accent, but I hope you understand me.
Oh, perfectly. Thank you so much. And I shared about your bio, and is there anything you would like to add to that? Maybe your journey to get here?
Well, indeed, the Kintsugi has been a life changer for a lot of people, but especially for me, because when I discovered it in 2017, I didn't know that at that time, but it was during a very difficult time of my life, and Kintsugi really gave me hope. Actually, I was going through my second divorce at the time, and by chance, I saw a picture of a Kintsugi bowl, and I encourage everybody listening today to type Kintsugi on the internet and have a look at a Kintsugi bowl just to have an idea of what it looks like. And just watching a picture, something very powerful happened, because when I saw this bowl repaired with the Kintsugi technique, which we will explain later, maybe, I really felt like something was immediately getting repaired inside. It was like an epiphany for me. And I was a writer at that time. So it's, in a way, it's a bit weird to say that, but it's as if my book was directly being uploaded in my mind. I could see clearly the summary of the book and the plan of the book. And I wanted to share what I felt, because for me, Kintsugi is much more than an art. It's really a way of life. It's a way, as we say in Japanese, a do. So it's Kintsugi do, the way of Kintsugi. For me, it was very powerful. So I don't know where you want to start, but I'm very happy to answer all of your questions.
Oh, sure. You could start with about your book and Kintsugi and the methodologies, but actually for the workings of Kintsugi, we'll say that for the next episode. But now you can talk about how you help people, what made you write the book, and we will also give the link in the comments so people can purchase your book if they're interested.
Sure, thank you. So for me, Kintsugi, maybe we can explain what it is first, maybe because some people might not know what it means. So Kintsugi, it's a Japanese art from the 15th century. And the legend says that the shogun, who is the chief of army at the time, was doing this tea ceremony. He broke, during the tea ceremony, he broke his favorite bowl. So he asked for it to be repaired, and it came from China. So he waits a long time to have this bowl repaired. And when it comes back with ugly staples all along the scar, and it was not watertight anymore, obviously. So he asks then his Japanese craftsman, to find a better solution. And this craftsman, this very unique solution, which is, this bowl is actually broken. We could put it in the trash, or we could pretend it's not broken and try to hide the repair. Or there's the third way, which is the Kintsugi way, which would be to emphasize, sublime the scars. And they had this brilliant in two meanings, brilliant, very intelligent, but also brilliant, luminous idea to use gold to emphasize these scars, because gold was and is the most looked for metal in the world, searched for, and very precious. And so they decided that if they show the scars instead of hiding it, it's like thinking out of the box. So when you watch a kintsugi, you see all these beautiful sparkling scars. I show you an example. And for the people who just have the audio, imagine I'm showing a bowl, a beautiful Japanese bowl, intact. And then I show you the same bowl, but with the kintsugi repair, with beautiful golden scars. And actually, the second bowl is actually, I think, more interesting. It bears its history, its journey. And so for me, when I saw this kind of bowl, when I was going through this painful ordeal, I said to myself, oh, but that's like a portrait of myself. It's talking about me, my journey, the fact that it was my second divorce. So I knew that I had been broken before, and I had survived, and I had put gold on my scars before. So when I saw this metaphor, this bowl, it was like a metaphor for life. And it was a metaphor of my own journey. So I said to myself, but it's so obvious, but I had never thought of that before. So I said to myself, this time again, I will put gold on my scars. I don't know how long it will take, but I know that I am a resilient person, and that I will, in the end, be able to do that. So I decided to learn the kintsugi technique. So at that time, it was not very common. So I actually learned with an American kintsugi master living in Japan. So that's how I learned. And while I was doing my bowl, thinking about everything I had been through in my life, I was thinking of all my inner repair. And while I was going through this 6-step process from the moment you repair to the moment you finish the sublimation of the bowl, I was getting more and more repaired. And that's what we will discuss later, maybe the 6 steps. So for kintsugi, that the process is very interesting and very powerful, because it speaks about your own journey and your own life. But there's obviously also the final result with this beautiful sparkling golden lines, which say, I am alive, I am stronger for having been broken. It's not in spite of having been broken. It's for having been broken. And I love to say that you are stronger for having been broken, because the actual technique is using a lacquer, which is called urushi. And this lacquer has this particularity to harden during the process. And they say that kintsugi bowl from 200 years ago is actually stronger than a new bowl. So you get stronger. The more you get broken, the stronger you get. But I also like to say that you are also more beautiful for having been broken, because when we compare these two bowls I just showed before, one is obviously more interesting and unique in the world. You can have like 1,000 bowls which are identical at the beginning, but if you break all of them, they will become unique. You are unique with your own experiences. And the last thing I love to say is that we are also more valuable, more precious, we say précieux in French, but I know precious has a double meaning in English. So more valuable because it's gold we put on the scars. That means the broken bowl is actually more valuable, which is a paradox.
That's good. And also you mentioned that it can be applied to anybody's journey, whether women of domestic violence, it could be marriage, it could be broken family, broken career, mistakes. So can you share more about that?
Yeah, that's the beauty of this metaphor. Is if you are receptive to this metaphor, it can speak about your journey, whatever your journey is, whether it's a psychological journey or a physical journey. So not everybody understands this metaphor. I noticed that the people who love this metaphor, who have the same epiphany as I had, people who are already resilient persons. That's the common point of everybody that we share. The people who love Kintsugi share resilience, and sometimes also perfectionism. There are people who have to deal with the idea of embracing imperfection. So that's two things they have in common, people who love Kintsugi. But after, as you said, whatever your ordeal is, it can resonate. So yes, I do speak to people who have, for instance, lived, as you said, domestic violence. I also go into prison with people who committed terrorism acts, and I encourage them to watch their journey in a different light. So yes, that's a very interesting journey for them, but especially for me.
Oh, especially for you. Did you include any of that in your book?
Actually, that's the opposite, because I did write the book before. So I started by writing the book, and from the book, actually, I had these opportunities to speak to different publics, and also to create these very creative workshops. So I'm developing that now after writing the book. So the book was more about the metaphor and the parallel with the life, because I'm very into self-help and personal development. So it was a very interesting metaphor for life. But then now I'm developing more concrete, more tangible workshops where we mix inner work and the practice of Kintsugi. And the two together is very powerful, because like that, you don't stay in the mental state. You go with your hands and your soul and your heart, and you put, actually the ball becomes your representative, like a metaphor for your soul. So when you repair your ball, physically you repair the ball, but you are actually repairing
yourself. Yes, that's beautiful. You shared about your book, and it's been very successful. Have you ever thought about a sequel, about more practical?
That's a wonderful question, which nobody asks, never, ever. So thank you, Laurie, for asking this great question. I'm actually thinking about the next step would be beyond Kintsugi. It would be, the first step is, for me, I had to learn patience, and I had to learn the process of embracing my imperfections, because I'm someone very perfectionist. I used to be a wedding planner in a former life, so that speaks highly of my level of perfectionism. So that would be what I put into this first book, this acceptance of your imperfection and your journey as it is. I think the next step would be beyond Kintsugi. You actually would not even need to repair the ball. You would actually accept that it's broken and that you don't even need to put gold on it. But that would be the next step.
I think that's a good title, Beyond Kintsugi.
Thank you. That's encouraging. Maybe I should really start to work on that. I am doing the inner work, because as a writer, that we put our lives into a book. But so the inner work is in progress. And then when it's ready, I can give birth to it.
That's wonderful. Writing a book is really an adventure, and especially for someone like me, because I've written chapters, but never wrote a book.
I was sure you were a writer. You were.
Well, thank you. Of course, I had a lot of help. My husband is one of the editors, and I had the main editor. And then after that, I go, there are too many little grammatical things that I didn't quite like. So I went to another editor, and he cleaned it up some, not a whole lot. Then taking it to Tuttle, and then it was accepted by Tuttle for publishing. So it was a total surprise to me. It wasn't something that I had planned, but I guess it was part of the plan. And it really is. It's an emotional and heart-wrenching journey, especially for someone like me, who writing is not my natural gift, is speaking, but it's another part of me, and I'm glad that I did explore it. But if it weren't for the accident, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have thought of doing it. I thought, oh, this is daunting for me, but I just decided that would be my goal, to overcome traumatic brain injury reading at a 7th grade level. So that's why I did it. And you have a different reason for writing, but I would encourage you to continue.
Thank you. Actually, it's interesting to hear again about your journey, because it's a really good example of Kintsugi way of thinking. The fact that your accident gave birth to your journey, to everything that you did after. That's really a Kintsugi way of thinking life. The fact that, for instance, When I do a workshop, I always say, transmute. Can you say transmute in English? It's an alchemic word, which means transmuting your lead into gold. So it's beyond transformation, it's transmutation. So yes, you can transmute your lead and everything that you've been through into a gift. What is the gift behind everything that happened to me? So yes, it's what you just said. It's a great example.
It's like it didn't happen to us. It happens, I've heard it's for us. That could be a way of redirecting.
And through us too.
Us. Yes, that's good, because some people will just stop there. Oh, this happened to me. My life is ruined. I could have done the same thing, rolled over and said, well, que sera, sera. But I didn't want my husband to spend his retirement years taking care of me because I could be capable of taking care of myself once I got through the initial stages. And I'm glad I did that. That's the Japanese way. You don't give up. And that's the next topic of my next book, Gambaru. Do not give up until it's completed. So they all kind of work together. The Kodo Bushido, Ikigai, Gambaru, Kintsugi, Kaizen, they all work together. In my opinion, I think the Japanese philosophies are beautiful. And so glad that you did that. And I wanted to ask you, how long did you study in Japan with the Kintsugi?
I actually studied in France just through the internet. I have to confess, I have never been to Japan.
Maybe that's should be on your bucket list.
It is actually, because it was during my second divorce that I discovered Kintsugi, and I had at the time my 4-month-old second baby. So you can imagine my life at that time, and I had this change of life, and it was not the best time for me to travel. But so it's been postponed a lot. But now would be a good time.
Just put it on your bucket list, and don't forget about it, because they say if you travel, you should travel to Japan less, because once you go to Japan, you'll experience how wonderful it is. Everything from the food, the hospitality, just their way of life, their way of being, and it's very interesting. And I feel so happy and healthy and safe when I go to Japan.
I'm sure I love it. On my bucket list would be a very symbolic journey to the roots of Kintsugi with my two daughters. The idea that we would go to Japan and do there our family Kintsugi ball.
Oh, that would, who knows? That could be another book or an ebook, a shorter version. That would be beautiful. How old are your daughters now?
My daughters now are
16 and 10. Also, so they're getting ready to where it would be useful for them. 16-year-old, but even the 10 would maybe wait a few years for the 10-year-old. But it could be a very, very powerful trip for you. Very full circle.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I just wanted to know, as we wrap up, if there's anything else you would like to share before we go on to the next episode.
Because in the next episode, we will more detail the 6-step process. What I want to add is that I'm currently working on a symbolic session, online session, because first, at the moment, if you want to go to my workshops, you have to come to France, which could be a great idea, or I can travel, but I'm working on an online workshop very soon.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's been wonderful speaking with you. Every guest, I tell people I learned something. And that's the beauty of that's why I love being a podcast host, is that I get to interview all these interesting people, learn all these new things. And I've had several people talk about Kintsugi, but nobody's written a book. Nobody's going to consider doing a sequel to that one. And yours was already successful. So I know that your second one will be successful too, being a writer. Just really happy and thankful that we met and came together to have this beautiful podcast. And so I want to thank all of you people online that are listening, that are following. It's great. And what would be really great, we'd really appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and comment, and then share with a friend about the Samurai Way podcast. You'll find so many answers to people's situations in life. And so I hope you will enjoy it. And thank you so much for coming today. It means a lot to me that people are listening to this all around the world. It'd be hard to do it from my little house in Northwest Washington, Pacific Northwest, to reach this many people in such a very succinct way. And the podcast really blossomed more, especially after COVID or during. So I'm just loving it and The reason I'm being able to do this is because I have a wonderful VA. And if you don't have A and you like to do things and you're more right brain, a VA is a great solution to your situation. And my VA is Anel. So thank you, Anel. And thank you also, Céline, for being here. And we look forward for you to be on the next episode shortly.